What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a Q&A style video. I put a little question box on my Instagram probably 3 to 4 weeks ago. If you have any questions about overseas basketball, anything pro basketball, anything overseas mindset, literally ask away. They just had to be good questions. That was the only criteria on what I'm going to answer. And I got a bunch. I think it was over like 400 questions. And so I'm going to get to some of those just as another way to connect with you guys and really share more of my stories. So let's get straight into it. What is your favorite go-to pre-game track? That one's easy for me. One of my favorite artists is Kid Cudi. I'm gonna listen to that throwback style Cudi all the time. And so Soundtrack to My Life by Kid Cudi, I'm bumping that most game days. Why did you choose number 9? Well, really, my number is 5. My go-to number is 5. I'm convinced every year I have a really high level year, I'm number 5. The years I haven't had great years, I haven't been number 5. So it's either number 5. If it's not number 5, then it's number 2, because 2 is almost a 5 upside down. But both those weren't available in my current club. And so my sister, she's a professional volleyball player in the States. Her number's been number 9 for a while. So I said, you know what, as a little tribute to her, I'm gonna be number 9 this year. Did you go D1? The answer is no, kind of yes. I actually was a Division II walk-on to start my college career. I had a lot of injuries in high school, wasn't very highly recruited. And then by my junior year, I was first team all conference, played well. Our team was solid too. And so I grad transferred. I had around 35 Division I offers. I chose to go to Grand Canyon University after there and for my senior year. So I played 1 year Division I. Wasn't a great year, but it was enough for me to go overseas. Which is your favorite Portuguese beer? So in Portugal, there's kind of like a rivalry between Superboc and Sagres. These are like the two name brand beers, I guess, in Portugal. Sagres is the main sponsor for Benfica. Superboc is the main sponsor for Sporting, I believe. So of course, it's Sagres. And by actual taste, I do like Sagres better than Superboc. So what is your favorite thing about Portugal? For me, my favorite thing so far about Portugal has been how welcoming and nice the people are. It seems like they're used to foreigners, and they're very, very welcoming, and I love it. They're all very friendly, very chill, very relaxed. Number 2 is the weather is incredible. I've played in a lot of cold countries, and this is my first year not having a cold winter, and that's been a blast. What is your favorite thing about playing overseas? This is a broad question. I could go a lot of different ways with this, but for me, the simplest thing is the amount of free time I have to do things outside of basketball. I can choose other avenues and ways to express my creativity, and that's why I have a YouTube channel. That's why I do a lot of different stuff. I think it's either that or experiencing new cultures. When you play overseas, you have a lot of experiences that you couldn't have anywhere else, not really with any other job. Those are probably what I treasure the most. Like, I think when I'm done with my career, I'm gonna be most proud of the experiences I had and treasure kind of those memories the most. What basketball player did you look up to as a kid? I would say I didn't really have like one basketball player I really looked up to. I've always been a big LeBron guy, but I think that's a bit of why I have a YouTube channel, why I try and share and give back to you guys, because I didn't have a very intimate influence. I was very under-recruited, I was very much an underdog story, so no one really took time to invest in me in terms of basketball like that directly. And so I didn't have a lot of basketball influences in my life. So that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be the mentor or like that basketball player for the next generation of kids that need somebody to look up to, because I didn't really have something like that. That's a good question. It's making me think a little bit, getting my feels a little bit. What is your advice to your younger self? I get this question a lot, and I think it's a powerful question, but my answer is actually really simple. I just wish I didn't take things so serious. It's good to take things serious. It's good that things matter to you, especially as a basketball player, especially like trying to be great at anything. It's important that it matters. But I think I missed out on a lot of stuff because I was just so obsessive and so like crazy about some of the things in my basketball career. And now looking back, they probably didn't matter as much. And if I was just a little bit more chill, a little bit more accepting of the fact that things will work out like they always do. Yeah, I think that's what I'd tell my younger self. Just take a second, relax. Things are not that serious, and enjoy the ride, because on the other side, when you're looking back on the ride, you're gonna want those moments back. So just be fully present in those and really enjoy them. At what point in your college career did you receive your first pro offer? I wanna answer this question because it's like one of the big misconceptions. You don't really get recruited while you're in college. Like, unless you're like a super, super high level guy, like you're like almost an NBA player, you're testing the draft waters, stuff like that, you're not gonna get a pro offer. Like, that's not how negotiations work. Like, they gotta know that you're available first. So you're not gonna get one as a sophomore if there's a chance you come back back to college. That stuff is just not real. It's just kind of like what people love to say, oh, I have this offer, that offer. Like, no, you don't. That's not how it works. And so I didn't get my first pro offer until the summer after my senior year, towards the end of the summer, after almost every job is filled overseas. Because like how it works is the best players and the highest paying jobs get filled first, and the lowest paying, the rookie jobs get filled last. And so like, you're not gonna get an offer early. I have to address that one because people lie about that all the time. What attributes do you need to be a successful overseas basketball player? I think there's two main ones. Adaptability. I don't even know if that's a word, but you have to be able to be okay with a lot of changes and a lot of new things and a lot of stuff you've never experienced before. And you got to be able to figure it out quick, and then be good at it quick. You're in new basketball systems, you're in new countries, you're in new environments, new house, like everything's new when you play overseas. So you have to be adaptable, you have to be dynamic, like able to figure it out fast. And then number two, I think it's just toughness. And what I mean by that is you're gonna experience a lot of tough situations you play overseas, especially early in your career, where it's like, you have to figure this out. And you have to have that fighting toughness spirit that it's just like, you're not gonna give up. You're gonna figure it out at all costs, and you're gonna get the job done. And that to me is like ultimate toughness. And then actually I'll add a third one. I think it's a growth mindset, because like, if you want a lasting career, you have to get better each year, and you have to be like actively searching for ways to get better. And you have to have that like serious growth mindset. Like seriously, like every situation is pushing me to new levels, and that's the only way you have like a successful career. How do you cut distractions and manage your thoughts on the basketball court? This is a great question, and I think this is a great question because everybody experiences this no matter who they are, what level. Even LeBron, even like the greatest players of all time, like they all have moments where they're like overthinking things on the court, or there's distractions. That's just like a human experience. I think the way that I manage it is I have things in my life that give me repetitions against those overthinking moments and those tendencies that everybody has. So for example, yoga is a great exercise, great practice to work against overthinking and managing your thoughts, because it's a mindfulness thing. It's about you're more aware of your thoughts and you're more conscious of when you're overthinking of what you're actually doing. It's a skill to be able to dial your concentration back in and start getting distracted and come back to what's important. Especially today, a lot of athletes struggle with this. I don't know the science behind it, but I think a lot of it's due to like social media and just constantly being distracted in our daily lives. We rarely have moments where we like assess our thoughts and we come back and we practice how to focus. And so that might have been a roundabout answer, but that's kind of my way of how I manage that stuff. What should be your focus in the off season as a hooper, maybe after you came off a bad season? Another good question. The off season is where you add stuff to your game and where you get your confidence where it needs to be. In season, it's kind of difficult to really add stuff to your game, like get new moves in your bag, and maybe you're not very good at pick and roll. It's very hard to get good at pick and roll during the season. But the off season is where you want to make a lot of mistakes and you want to have a lot of volume, because you don't have that pressure of having to feel good in the game. So overload your body a bit, overload your mind a bit, and make a lot of mistakes. And I think if you do those three things, and maybe one more, and challenge yourself with the competition, like go against better people than you. If you do those four things, normally the off season is gonna be a time where you get better, you learn about yourself, you get more comfortable in situations, and you start getting more confident in making mistakes. Is there a difference of training as a pro and training to become a pro? 1000% yes. This is a great question. My training should not look identical to your training if me and you are at different points in our career. For example, I'm 27. I have a lot of mileage on my body compared to a 13-year-old kid, compared to a 15-year-old kid. So those younger kids are gonna want a lot of volume, just in terms of you need to get those basics down. You need to have those, like the bare minimum has to be ingrained. Like in order to reach higher levels, you have to have a strong foundation. And that comes with a lot of volume, a lot of intensity. You gotta be in the gym a lot of time. And that's what I would recommend someone aspiring to be a pro. But now that I am a pro, it's a lot more fine details. It's about getting 1% better, that just little small things that can, provide that difference and propel me to the next level. It's not this mass amount of work I need to do. I'm not saying I've arrived by no means, but there's an amount of mastery that I've accomplished that needs to be accomplished coached by a younger hooper in order to now focus on the fine details and really ironing out things in their game. So there's definitely a difference. How did European teams discover you? This is a common question I get because there's a lot of people in the States that want to play overseas and they don't know how. Well, the first thing is teams discovered me because I had a resume, and the only resume you can really have is game film and your statistics from college. So those are the two main things teams are gonna look at right away, and especially like they're gonna look at guys that don't have a gap. It's very hard to take a year off and then try and play overseas basketball. People have done it, but it's very difficult. I had those two things going for me, and then from there I hired an agent, and then it's my agent's job to kind of shop me to teams. He has a lot of those connections, but I have to be a value to my agent first. So I'm not saying like for a lot of you guys the clock's already ticked, like you're past the point, but you have to think of ways to create value. If you don't have a good college career, then maybe you need to I don't know, it's very difficult because like teams don't really respect rec league footage. Semi-pro, they don't respect it much. Pro-ams, not really. So maybe it's someone taking a chance on you, but you have to be really active and on top of your stuff and have a resume and do things to get that first offer. The first offer is the hardest thing to get, especially if you don't have a resume. How good do you have to be to play overseas basketball? This is a good question, and this is something that's also lied about all the time. People think anybody can go play overseas, and that is objectively false. You think the NBA, there's about 450 roster spots, and you have the G League around that area, so I'd say there's about 600 high-level professional players in the States. Anybody outside of that are the players that are going to play overseas, and then you have to compete against the good players in those countries. So you have to be a top 1% of the 1%, and you have to have not just game. Like you can't just be good at basketball to play overseas. You have to be adaptable. You have to have the mindset. You have to be tough. Like there's so many things that go into it. And a lot of times, a lot of things that are outside of basketball. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn like it's a hard thing, like it's super difficult, like you don't get how crazy it is to be doing this, but it's very difficult. It's not like anybody can go do this. It's not like, oh, since I can't make the NBA, I'm gonna go overseas easily. No, it's still very, very hard and a very lofty goal. Getting paid to play basketball is incredibly difficult. Who was your teammate that helped you the most out overseas? When I first got this question, I thought, and I was like, I don't really know. And then once it hit me, it was like clear as day. It's from my second year as a pro. I was playing in Belgrade, Serbia for KK Mladost in the Serbian Domestic League and the Adriatic Second League. We had a veteran point guard, Kwame Mitchell. He was like, I think he was 31 at the time, but that's my guy. He basically taught me the ropes of this stuff, a lot of high-level basketball stuff. I learned a lot in terms of like the mindset I need to survive over here. And he just helped me a lot too to just be confident and like believe in myself because he believed in me. And that's really rare overseas because your teammates, a lot of times there's a subtle competition for stats, for accolades and stuff. And most unselfish guy I've ever played with, he literally told me, I think it was the third week we were playing together, he's like, I want to see how many points you can score this year. And I was like, no one's ever said that to me. And so for that, I appreciate if you're watching this, K, I love you, dog. For sure, my most impactful teammate I played with. Can you explain the culture shocks between the US and Europe and maybe in between different European countries? The simple answer for culture shocks are the language barrier, are some of the driving tendencies. They drive way different in Europe. The spatial awareness is way different in Europe. The expectations when you walk into a room are different in Europe. What do I mean by that? I had to learn this. When you come to practice, you're expected to greet everybody in the room, high five, look them in the eyes on everything. A lot of times in the States, maybe you walk in a room, you kind of saunter in, go to the side. There's just a lot more respect in terms of those things than my experience. Like I can't speak broadly about the US to Europe, but I'm saying my experience in the US and my experience in Europe. And then amongst countries is very different. Every country I've played in has been night and day different. And that's what I kind of was talking about earlier about adaptability. You got to be able to learn these culture differences, adapt to them, and fit in very quickly and assimilate and be a good person, be a good teammate very fast. That's a huge question, and that's like, I could break that down for like hours, but that's the gist of it. What do you see yourself accomplishing in 5 to 10 years in basketball and life? Basketball-wise, 5 to 10 years, I mean, in 10 more years, maybe my career will be over. I mean, 15 years playing would be very impressive. In 5 years, I'll probably be nearing the back end. I feel like I have 1 to 2 more pushes, and that's what I mean by like a 2 to 3 year stretch of really trying to reach the highest possible levels I can. That may be EuroLeague, that may be high level Asian countries. I think I want to push to the highest level of basketball that I can in the next 5 years. I can't put a money amount on that. I can't put anything. I just want to reach the highest level. And that's kind of where I'm at with basketball. And then in life, I just got married this last year. We're working on buying a house. I expect in 5 years I'll have a full family. And yeah, with the stuff I do on the side, like this YouTube stuff, social media stuff, hopefully that continues to grow. I want to start collaborating with different creators. I have some big plans for some merch drops, some mindset workshops, some camps, a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of different directions I want to go with it. But eventually I want to kind of transition this stuff into more of a business and get as many people involved as possible and make the biggest impact as possible. So that's kind of where I see in the next 5 years. Pretty good leading into the next question, will I ever drop merch? Short answer is yes. Long answer is the timeline could be as soon as 6 weeks, could be as soon as 4 months. I already have some merch I made 2 years ago that was good, but I got insecure that it wasn't good enough and didn't match the brand well enough. So I just got a bunch of t-shirts back at home. But I'm very picky about how I want to expand the brand and expand this stuff. I want it to be very uniform. I want it all to make sense. I want to continue to give to you guys, and so when I eventually ask for anything from my audience, from the people that care, I want it to be very high quality and very embody the full atypical mindset and belief system. Describe yourself in one word. Obviously, I'm gonna say atypical, but I want to expand on it further. It's kind of like, what is the atypical mindset? And for me, it's like the mindset that I've had since a young kid that I've been developing my whole life. And it's just kind of how I view the world in a way that everything is meant to grow me. I can learn from every situation. It's really that growth mindset embodied. I call it the atypical mindset because it's rare. It's not a normal thing. And I thought everyone kind of thought like that until I started having new experiences, meeting a lot of new people, and not everybody thinks like that. And I think it's a valuable thing, and I hold it near and dear to me because I don't think I would accomplish anything I've accomplished or get to anywhere I've gotten to without this mindset. If you want more about the atypical mindset and kind of like my mindset as a pro and what's got me to this point, feel free to subscribe to my email newsletter. I'll put the link in the description. The newsletter is basically you'll get weekly updates on all the workouts I've been doing, all the basketball ideas I've been workshopping, all the mindset ideas I've been workshopping, just so that you can really like feel more of that process that I go through weekly of trying to get better. And I think it will help you guys get better with me. And that's really my passion behind it, is if I'm trying so hard to improve myself and learn from the different experiences and situations, I think other people can learn from those. And I think it could really motivate and inspire the younger generation to have that same like growth mindset, like let's learn from everything. And so that's kind of the heart behind it. But yeah, I think that concludes the Q&A. I probably missed a bunch of questions, and you guys are probably, a couple of you guys are watching like, you didn't answer my question. I'm sorry, maybe we'll do a part 2. We're getting construction done, so it's ridiculous. But maybe we'll do a part 2. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a little bit more about me and also this atypical life that I'm living, this atypical mindset. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you want more content. I'll catch up with you guys soon.
She got highs and lows. She said, yeah, I know. Wish I can make it easier. I can, I just know